The battle that almost lost World War II. How one mistake could have changed everything. It's the summer of 1940. The skies over Europe are churning with the roar of combat. The Nazi war machine has swept across the continent. Unstoppable, relentless. France has fallen. The Allies are scattered. Britain is standing alone. It's back against the wall. On this tiny island, the fate of the free world will be decided in the skies. But what if the story had ended differently? What if one crucial mistake made by the Germans had succeeded in breaking the British resolve? What if that one error had led to the fall of Britain? This is the story of the fateful decision that could have cost the Allies the war, and how the skies above Britain almost became a graveyard for hope. Stay with us, because one mistake made in the heat of war almost changed the future of the entire world. The Battle of Britain, the summer of 1940, marked a turning point in the war. After 6 years of unstoppable blitzkrieg, Germany had conquered nearly all of Europe. Britain stood alone. Its cities were bombed daily. Its people were worn thin. But there was still one last line of defense: the Royal Air Force. If the Luftwaffe could destroy the RAF, the way would be clear for Nazi forces to invade Britain, thus changing the balance of power forever. If the RAF could hold, it would prove to the world that Nazi domination was not inevitable. Germany's plan was simple: control the skies. The Luftwaffe, commanded by Hermann Göring, launched a calculated series of air raids designed to wipe out Britain's defenses. The Germans had more planes, more pilots, and more experience. Britain's RAF was outnumbered. The odds were stacked against them. But Britain's survival wasn't solely in the hands of the RAF pilots, brave as they were. No, there was something more, a fateful mistake by the German High Command that almost turned the tide in the Allies' favor. The Germans had always assumed that the quickest way to break Britain was through aerial bombardment. Destroy the Royal Air Force, then break the morale of the British people. But here's where the mistake occurred. On September 7, 1940, after weeks of precise attacks on British airfields and radar stations, the German Luftwaffe changed tactics, unexpectedly shifting their focus to London. This shift didn't come out of nowhere. It was a decision made out of frustration, but its impact would resonate for years to come. In what was considered a monumental error, Göring ordered that bombers instead target London itself, the heart of British morale. His theory? The Germans would crush the spirit of the British people by bombing their capital city, knowing that the destruction of London would force Britain to surrender. But that miscalculation, though it was designed to break the British, did something else entirely. It gave the RAF the breathing room they desperately needed. While London burned, British airfields and radar stations, critical to Britain's survival, remained untouched. The Luftwaffe, distracted by their aim to break the spirit of the people, had overlooked the very defenses they needed to destroy. This decision, this crucial error in judgment, would prove to be the turning point in the Battle of Britain. The Luftwaffe, which had once flown with unmatched confidence, was now facing something unexpected. A British resistance that could breathe, that could regroup. While the bombers targeted London, RAF pilots, still reeling from the initial onslaught, were able to repair their planes, reorganize, and launch counterattacks. They had the advantage now. The airfields that had been on the brink of destruction were still operational, and the radar stations that had once been prime targets were still up and running. In the coming days, the Luftwaffe would feel the full force of the RAF's determination. The Battle of Britain raged on, but now it was a battle Britain could win. The Germans had overestimated the impact of their air raids on London, and by the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. The RAF Spitfires and Hurricanes took to the skies again, confronting the Luftwaffe in brutal dogfights. The fighters, though outnumbered, had something the Germans could not counter: experience, resilience, and above all, the will to fight. The British people, watching the skies above their cities, found courage in the very destruction that the Germans had hoped would break them. Had the Germans maintained their focus on the RAF's airfields and radar stations, had they ignored the urge to strike at London, the war might have taken a different path. The Allies could have lost the Battle of Britain before it even began. The Luftwaffe would have obliterated Britain's defenses, and with that, the door would have been open for a Nazi invasion. But that didn't happen. Instead, London's destruction fueled the British would survive, and the RAF found a new resolve to fight. The skies above Britain remained contested, but now they belonged to British, not the Germans. The skies above London, once a battleground, would soon witness the death of Hitler's dream of invading Britain. And it all began with that one fateful decision, that one tragic error, to shift focus to the civilian heart of London instead of finishing what they had started in the skies above Britain. And so, the Battle of Britain became a story of survival. Survival against all odds, survival against an enemy that thought it already won. The Germans believed that by attacking London, they would bring Britain to its knees. Instead, they gave Britain a reason to stand tall, to fight back harder, and to never surrender. It's almost chilling to think about how close we came to losing the war. That one decision, that one moment in history, could have been the difference between victory and defeat. If the Luftwaffe had succeeded in breaking the British spirit, the entire course of the war would have changed. But that didn't happen. The mistake made by the German command, underestimating the British will to fight, set the stage for the eventual Allied victory. By the end of the Battle of Britain, the RAF had proved that a nation, even when pushed to the brink, could rise again. And when the rest of the world looked on, it wasn't just a victory for Britain. It was a victory for the spirit of defiance, a reminder that sometimes the smallest mistakes can change the world. One mistake almost lost World War II. But the British stood firm, and history was never the same. And that's the legacy of the Battle of Britain. The triumph of resilience, the cost of a single mistake, and the spirit that still lives on.